What's up guys, my name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is the full game review for USC's disappointing loss at Minnesota. This was a very frustrating rewatch to do. Just some awful mistakes at every single phase, some red flags along both of the lines, but also some stuff that was better than I first thought. We will get more in depth with it, but yeah, just a really bad loss. But on a brighter and much more fun note, I would like to announce my partnership with PrizePicks for the remainder of this season. So stoked for this, so many reasons to sign up. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. You could easily turn $10 into $100 with just a few taps. This last week, I hit on Malik Williams scoring a rushing touchdown for UNLV, and Max Brosmer throwing for less than 204.5 yards. So much fun, so easy to play, and now it's even better when you go to prizepicks.com and use my code BLADE to receive a guaranteed $50 when you play $5 in lineups. Again, that's a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups over at prizepicks.com when you use my code BLADE. So make sure to drop your picks over on Twitter or on the Trojan Blade Discord, and I'll make sure to feature you in future videos. Thank you so much, PrizePicks, and now let's get into this video. Alright, so as always, let's start with the Trojan offense. I thought this was an overall lackluster offensive performance in terms of output and final product. I thought we did some things well in this game. We had success running the ball until we stopped running the ball entirely. Man, when you have PJ Fleck post-game saying that he knew we couldn't help ourselves to keep throwing, that says a lot. But what this game was to me, on the offensive side at least, was just a collection of missed opportunities. You have a swing pass to Woody Marks on the first drive with Elijah Page and Emmanuel Pregnon out in front as lead blockers. There's a gopher backer right in front of them both, and they somehow managed to not get a hand on him. If they get that block, that could have been an explosive play. You have the horrible drop from Zachariah Branch on third down that at the very least would have went for 15 to 20 yards, and of course it would have kept that drive going. I'm going to break down the first interception in the fourth quarter here in a bit, so we'll go over that more in depth here in a minute. Quentin Joyner fumbled on that explosive run he had. You saw him start to bobble the ball a bit before he was impacted by the defender. Just a frustrating night of football for our Trojans. Getting into the specific players though, there was one thing that I would say that I overstated in my instant reaction. Alani Noah did have some rough moments, but overall this was his best game as a Trojan. He was not the problem along the line. There were a few flat out whiffs, but the overall product was very solid from him. So wanted to clear that up. That was an overreaction on my part. Rest of the O-line though, Pregnon continued to be our best lineman. Jonah Monheim played well in this one. Elijah Page had a rough first half, but I really thought he bounced back in that second half. But yeah, we have to talk about Mason Murphy. And I am going to have a how to fix the O-line video coming out this week, probably Wednesday, where I'll really get into the nuts and bolts of it and offer some solutions as opposed to just complaining about it. But this is the second time in the last 3 weeks Mason has given up a play that is just at the worst possible timing you could possibly imagine. Against Michigan on our second to last offensive drive, Mason allows the end to get inside him and he blows up that shovel pass that would have went for at least 30 yards and likely sealed that game. And then in this one, we have full control of the game in the fourth quarter, and then he gets smoked against a 3-man rush, and the game is completely flipped from that point on. But let's just get into this here and break this play down. All right, so taking a look at the front for Minnesota, they are going to be showing a 6-man front right here. You're going to have man coverage across the board, man here, man here, man here, and man here. And then when we're talking about cover 1, that means one deep safety right here, and that is the read for Miller on this play. This is how he knows where he's going with the ball pre-snap, because when you take a look at what the wideouts are doing, we're going to have a mirror concept here. That means the same thing on both sides. So the outside wideouts are going to have a little curl right here to the stick. Same thing down here with Kyle Ford. And from both slots, you're going to see a fade to the outside shoulder here and here. And you are going to see a chip and check from Woody Marks right here. He's going to come down and help out the offensive lineman, and then he's going to release into the flats right here. So when you're talking about this play call against cover 1, it is absolutely perfect. We have a big mismatch in the slot on that left side with Deuce Robinson against that smaller defensive back. Perfect time to call it. And again, it was absolutely going to work. But taking a look here, this is where things start to go wrong for SC. This is right after the snap. I want you to take a look at the difference in posture between Elijah Page, who's right here, and Mason Murphy, who's on the right side. Okay, Elijah Page is lower. He's getting into his pass set. He has that explosive stance. He's ready to take on the edge rusher. He's in a very dynamic position. He can swing left, he can swing right. He's getting those hands up ready to punch. That is what you are supposed to do in these situations. Now, on the contrary, coming down here to Mason Murphy, this is already completely out of whack from the jump. As fast as this is happening, Mason Murphy has already lost this rep. Look at the explosion off the ball from the Minnesota edge rusher here. He timed that snap very well. He got off his stance very quickly, And when you compare that to Mason Murphy, who's already off balance, his hands are still down, it seems like he's worried about this linebacker right here, not fully focusing on the edge rusher. And again, just looking at how off balance he already is, this play was kind of doomed before it even got started. And those are the problems that we have been seeing with Mason Murphy dating all the way back to 2022. Just too inconsistent with the technique. And yeah, in this moment, obviously can't have it. This is about a half second later. He's already getting absolutely torched right here. And when you see this play from Miller, it is a 5-step hitch and throw. Should be very easy, should be very quick to get the ball out. And what makes this play even more frustrating is that you can see it was only a 3-man rush. While they showed that 6-man front, they actually dropped this defensive end into coverage to sort of spy the quarterback. And then they have these 2 linebackers here and here, dropping into a shallow zone and leveraging the running back so that no matter which way he breaks, left or right, that they'll be able to close in on him and tackle him short of the sticks. So very conservative look from Minnesota here. The fact that they were able to get home so quickly is really unfortunate. And this is the really frustrating part of this play. You see that the quarterback has been contacted right here. The ball's coming out, it's about to be picked off. But if we look downfield, we have the exact look we were looking for. You have Deuce Robinson running the fade to the outside shoulder. He has a step on that defender. And if we take a look over here at the single high safety, with the way Miller throws this ball with the ball placement, it'll be somewhere around here. He's not going to be able to get over there in time. That is too far a distance for him to travel. Miller's going to put that ball on a rope. We have seen him make this throw countless times. He did it against Michigan. He did it against Wisconsin. The seam ball and the fade ball are his 2 best balls in his arsenal, in my opinion. So we had it dialed up exactly the way we wanted it. Just couldn't hold up in pass protection against a 3-man rush. Now, one thing that I want to clear up as well, I have seen some people getting on Miller for not taking the check down on this play or not stepping up in the pocket and forcing the ball. Those people are clearly just talking out of their ass because you can see it right here. There's nowhere to go. The curl here is blanketed. The curl here was blanketed. Woody kind of got caught up in traffic. He hasn't even released yet. He's right here. And then again, it's a mirror concept. So you have the 2 fade balls right here and right here. Miller decided he was going to do pre-snap. Now what that means effectively is that the safety net is the sideline. He's going to put the ball where either Deuce gets it or no one gets it. While this might not seem like a very safe throw over here to Deuce, it actually is. Again, that ball's either hitting Deuce in the hands or it's bouncing out of bounds. So I love this play call. It was timed perfectly. Exactly what you're looking for against cover 1. But yeah, just incredibly frustrating that it didn't work out. And of course, this swung the entire game. So yeah, overall, just a brutally timed mistake. That play was going to work. Hell of a call for Lincoln. Perfect call against cover 1. We cannot make that mistake in that situation. Talking about the wideouts now, man, overall, we got clamped in this game. Let's call it what it is. They locked us down. Jacoby was a non-factor. Once again, Deuce was getting separation. I thought he was kind of having his way with the DBs. I thought Kyron made some tough catches, but man, a lot of those were contested because the separation just isn't there. And overall, I was very surprised at the lack of separation across the board. But on a more positive note, let's talk about the tight ends. Cade Eldridge is the most underrated player on this team. Let me say it again. Cade Eldridge is the most underrated player on the 2024 USC Trojans football team. The blocking has taken such a major leap with him. I'm so impressed. Coach Hansen is fantastic when it comes to teaching blocking. I'll talk about that more on Wednesday's video. But Cade is playing some damn good football for us right now. Thrilled with his performance. I thought Walker Lyons did some good things as well. Obviously love what we're getting from the backs. Woody Marks is sensational. Quentin Joyner, up until that fumble, was playing some incredible ball. And I don't believe he saw the field again after that fumble. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I guess we have to have this conversation. Let me say this as plainly and clearly as I possibly can. If you're calling for Miller Moss to be benched, you're a casual. You don't know football at any level, and frankly, your opinion on anything involving the sport holds zero value. He has made incredible throws time and time again this year. Everyone calling him a statue clearly doesn't notice the 5 times a game he evades sacks by maneuvering in the pocket. You guys really think Maava would unlock this offense because he's faster? You guys are aware that we had the best escape artist college football has ever seen last year, right? And how did that go when both tackles were routinely getting smoked? Having speed and athleticism does not suddenly negate a pass rush. If you're saying that Miller doesn't fit a system filled with RPOs, that's also not even close to accurate. Baker Mayfield led the best offense Lincoln has ever had. He had a bigger arm than Miller, but that's the only difference in their physical skill set. What Miller gives you in the pass game would go away if Maava was in the game. The defense would simply have a defender take him away as a running threat in the RPO game. And then we're back to square one. Only now we don't have a quarterback in there who's mastered this system, is the clear leader of the team, and has shown to be a brilliant player. The same people who came at me because I pointed out Bears' bad effort are calling for Miller to be benched. The guy that gets demolished every game and keeps getting up. The guy that puts his body on the line time and time again. And look, I like Jaden Mayava. I think he's going to be a damn good player. But since you guys clearly don't watch any film, go ahead and watch that UNLV Kansas Bowl game from last year and get back to me. This is classic backup quarterback syndrome. As clearly as I can say it, doubting Lincoln Riley when it comes to quarterbacks is asinine, especially when your only reason for it is because the other guy is faster. You just aren't serious people if that's where you stand with it. Last thing I'll say on this, and then I'll move on because I'm starting to get pissed off. With the physical advantages Jaden Mayava has over Miller Moss, if this was a close quarterback competition, Lincoln would have started Jaden to start the year. So that's where I stand with it. It's a dumb thing to say, and it really is funny how other content creators called me divisive for showing poor effort, yet are calling for our leader to be benched. Makes a lot of sense, but as always, we move on. Let's talk about the Trojan defense. So while I think this was our worst overall defensive performance of the year, there were still some positives to take away from this one, primarily Kobe Pepe and Nate Clifton. These two really played well. Nate has been one of the more valuable players on the team for me, and Kobe's development into this good interior lineman is remarkable. Looking at how much he's been through in his playing career, I could not be happier for him. Kobe and Clifton are number 2 and 3 highest graded defenders per PFF. That definitely matched my eye test. They were making plays, love what we saw from them. But the most surprising thing for me in this entire game, offense, defense, or special teams, was the poor tackling that returned for the defense. We saw missed tackles in bunches, 5 from Jalen Smith, 4 from Mason Cobb, 2 from Akili Arnold. And Kamari, Gavin, Jamil, and Easton all were credited with 1. Now, Jalen Smith, one of the better tacklers in the conference in my opinion, not worried about him going forward. Frankly, I'm not worried about the defense as a whole going forward when it comes to tackling. This team is shown to tackle well. This does feel more like an outlier than the norm. We'll obviously see if that theory is correct this next week against Penn State's rushing attack, but unfortunately, we have to talk about the injuries. The injuries really started to show themselves late in this game. We had lost Anthony Lucas, Jacoby Covington, and man, if you had any doubts about the value of Eric Gentry, I think he was sorely missed in this one. There's just an overall lack of playmaking when he's out. Got to get him back and back now. But on that last drive, when you had to have a stop, you have Sam Green on the field and he fails to set an edge and they pick up a massive first down. Having a guy who's barely played out there for those critical snaps is a tough ask. I mean, Sam's a guy that's barely played college football. And these are game-clinching, game-winning snaps you're asking him to go out there and play. Not trying to give him an excuse, but at the same time, man, our depth is really being tested right now. Now, are we starting to see this D'Anton Lynn defense get figured out a bit? I think it's fair to assume that somewhat, but to the extent I couldn't tell you. But what I can guarantee you is that Penn State is going to attack us the exact same way Michigan and Minnesota did. We have to show that we're up to the challenge for 4 quarters because unfortunately in this game we just weren't. Now, I do want to quickly talk some special teams here. Fascinating stat from Antonio Morales. He says, per True Media, USC's average starting field position after the opponent punts is its own 21.3 yard line. That's 126 nationally. So what this says to me is that we are not making the correct decisions when fielding punts. The Big Ten is a field position league, and if Zachariah can't do a better job of this, I would much rather have a safer option back there who, yeah, maybe can't house it, but knowing that our returner will make the correct call of when to field the ball, when to let it roll, when to return it and advance it 10 yards. Those are winning plays that we need more of on special teams. Lincoln Riley has yet to show us that he can field a good special teams unit. Either Zachariah improving in that spot or finding someone else to do it could go a long way to helping this team, in my opinion. But yeah, guys, that is all I have for you. This was not a pleasant one to rewatch, I can tell you that. Again, I will have an offensive line video out on Wednesday. And look down in the description and use my link to sign up with Prize Picks. Again, you get a guaranteed $50 once you play $5 in lineups. All right, guys, thank you all so much for being here today. You're all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on.